The bodily autonomy argument states that women have the right to control their own bodies regardless of the moral status of the creature inside their womb. So they'll even admit that, yeah, okay, fine, it's a person, you can call it whatever you want, but it relies on my body, and so I can do what I want with it. Perhaps the most famous formulation of this argument came from Judith Jarvis Thomson decades ago, and this is supposed to be the unanswerable pro-abortion argument. Not only is it answerable, it is pure idiotic. And I'll show you why. So the way that she frames the argument is, she says, you're probably familiar with this, she says, you wake up in the morning and find yourself back to back in bed with an unconscious violinist, a famous unconscious violinist. He has been found to have a fatal kidney ailment, and the Society of Music Lovers has canvassed all the available medical records and found that you alone have the right blood type to help. They have therefore kidnapped you, and last night the violinist's circulatory system was plugged into yours so that your kidneys can be used to extract poisons from his blood as well as your own. To unplug would be to kill him. But never mind, it's only for 9 months. By then he will have recovered from his ailment and you can go on your way. So that's the analogy for pregnancy. Yeah, this is supposed to be a good argument, guys. Hold on. Don't laugh. So let me focus on this analogy just for a moment here. Notice the subtle adjustments that are made here. And these are the adjustments that bodily autonomy people always make. The person that's hooked up to you is just some guy, right? He's just some violinist. You don't even know him. And he's a violinist. Like, no one wants to sit and listen to a violinist for 9 months, right? Like, he couldn't even have an acoustic guitar or something. Why is he hooked up to you? Well, because he got sick. You know, it's a bad fortune. It's got nothing to do with you. He just got sick. Wait a minute. Now, in order for this analogy to work, shouldn't the violinist be your child? And shouldn't he have gotten sick because of something you did to him? In every case except for rape, a child is formed because of an intentional act by the parents. They may not have intended to create a baby, but they did something that they knew could create a baby, and they did that thing on purpose. Okay, now we're closer to home. You wake up hooked up to your own child who's deathly ill because of something you did. Are you going to unplug? But hold on again, because it's still not analogous. Abortion is not just the simple detaching of wires. A mother does not merely just unplug herself during an abortion. No, that would be analogous to a woman giving birth early, which could be perfectly justified in some situations. There's a medical problem late in pregnancy, give birth early, the child goes to the NICU, hopefully he survives. Many times they do. That is what unplugging would be. Abortion, though, is the direct intentional killing of a human life. The human life is poisoned or stabbed or crushed or torn apart. It is a purposeful action taken with the intent of directly destroying life. That's abortion. So the real analogy is this. You're hooked up to your own child who is sick because of something you did. You don't feel like being inconvenienced, so you put a pillow over his face and smother him to death. Suddenly, the analogy doesn't work in favor of the pro-abortion side when you frame it correctly. But even that doesn't really capture it, because an unborn child is not just hooked up by artificial wires. An unborn child is in his natural habitat. He's in the only place that he can be. He is where nature, or I would say God, intends for him to be. Bodily autonomy doesn't actually exist. It's a non-existent thing. Any claim or responsibility placed on me whatsoever, any law that's passed that makes a claim on me, and there are many, also makes a claim on my body. Because my body is not separate from the rest of me. I am my body. So if bodily autonomy means that I can do whatever I want, no one can make any claims on my body, then that means that no one can make any claims whatsoever of any kind ever. Because all of them translate to some extent, in some way, into a claim on my body.